The galaxy was burning. Stars that once gave light now carried the shadows of war. For years, humans had fought against alien empires, always standing on the edge of defeat. The aliens were stronger, faster, and far more advanced. They called humans primitive, weak, and destined to be slaves. But the story of humanity was never so simple. In the middle of this chaos, a strange signal appeared. It came from the edge of known space, where no human fleet was supposed to be. The signal was faint, like a whisper through the void. But it carried coordinates, a place that human commanders could not ignore. When the first scouts arrived, they saw something that froze their breath. A ship, massive, silent, and unlike anything humanity had ever built. It was not a battleship like the others. Its design was sharp, smooth, and mysterious. It looked alive, as if the metal itself was breathing. Blue lines of energy ran across its dark hull, glowing like rivers of light. The scouts could not believe their eyes. One whispered, "This ship, it looks like something from the future." When the mysterious warship moved, the stars seemed to bend around it. Its engines made no sound, but the void itself shook. The human fleet brought it back, uncertain, afraid, and yet full of hope. No one claimed to have built it. No scientist, no engineer, no nation. It was as if the ship had appeared out of nowhere, and yet it responded to human command. It aligned itself with the human fleet, waiting like a silent guardian. The timing could not be more perfect. The largest alien armada was approaching Earth. Billions of lives were at risk. Humanity's defenses were weak, their weapons too small against the alien empire. But now, standing at the center of the fleet, was the strange warship, a silent giant, holding secrets that no one could understand. The battle began. Alien dreadnoughts rained fire upon the human fleet. Explosions filled the void. The humans fought bravely, but their ships cracked one after another. Panic spread, fear spread, hope began to fade. Then the warship moved. It glided forward like a phantom. A single beam of light erupted from its front cannons. The beam cut across space like a sword. An alien battleship, larger than mountains, split in half with one strike. Silence followed for a moment. Every human, every alien stared at the impossible sight. The aliens screamed in disbelief. What is this weapon? How can humans build this? Their commanders ordered more ships forward. Hundreds of beams of plasma fired at the warship, but the ship's shields shimmered like water. Every shot bent away, as if reality itself was protecting it. The aliens panicked, their courage breaking. They whispered, "It's not a ship, it's a demon." Inside the human fleet, shock turned into hope. Soldiers cheered, captains raised their fists. For the first time in years, humanity was not running. They were fighting, and they were winning. The warship continued its silent rampage. Every move was precise, every strike was deadly. It was like the ship already knew what the enemy would do before they moved. Human commanders stared at their screens. Some were filled with pride, others with fear. One asked, "If this is our ship, who gave us this power?" No one could answer. The only truth was clear. With this warship, the fate of humanity was about to change, and somewhere, deep inside the silence of the mysterious ship, a single message was waiting to be revealed, but the galaxy was not yet ready to hear it. The battlefield was quiet for only a moment. The mysterious warship stood at the front of the human fleet, its dark hull glowing with blue energy veins. No one knew what it truly was, but everyone could feel its power. Even the alien commanders, who had mocked humanity for decades, now felt a strange unease in their cold hearts. The alien admiral, a towering creature with 6 eyes and scaled skin, gave a sharp command. "All ships, target the phantom vessel, destroy it at once." Thousands of alien cannons turned, and the void lit up with fire. Streams of plasma, missiles, and energy beams rushed toward the warship, bright enough to blind sensors. The humans held their breath, sure that even this strange ship could not survive such an onslaught. But the warship did not move. It stayed perfectly still, like a shadow carved into space. The alien fire struck it and vanished. Every beam, every missile, every weapon dissolved into nothing as soon as it touched the shimmering shield around the ship. It was as if the warship was untouchable, as if the laws of physics bent to protect it. Gasps filled the human fleet. On every bridge, soldiers and officers shouted, "It survived! It survived!" The alien admiral's eyes widened in disbelief. No ship had ever resisted such firepower before, not even their most advanced dreadnoughts. But this human warship stood unbroken, its shields glowing softly like moonlight. Then it moved, the engines ignited with a pulse of blue light, but there was no roar, no sound, only silence. The ship glided forward with elegance, like a predator that already knew the outcome of the hunt. its main cannon charged, humming with a deep energy that rattled the bones of everyone who saw it. And then, a beam was unleashed. The beam tore through space, cutting like a blade of pure light. One alien cruiser exploded instantly, then another, then a third. The warship did not even pause between strikes. Every shot was perfect, precise, merciless. In only seconds, what had been a wall of alien warships became burning debris, floating helplessly in the void. The humans could not believe what they were witnessing. Generals stared at their screens, eyes wide. Soldiers screamed with joy, fists raised in hope. For years, they had only known fear, retreat, and endless death. Now, for the first time, the enemy was breaking. The alien fleet scrambled in panic. Their formations collapsed as captains shouted desperate orders. But nothing they did mattered. Their fastest ships could not outrun the warship. Their strongest shields could not block its beams. Their bravest fighters could not slow its advance. To the aliens, it was not a war anymore. It was slaughter. Whispers spread through their ranks. Humans cannot make this. This is impossible. This is forbidden. Some believed the ship was cursed. Others believed it was alive. Some even thought the humans had made a pact with gods or demons, but the truth was unknown. The warship itself stayed silent, never answering hails, never sending signals. It fought without a word, without hesitation, like a guardian with only one purpose: to destroy any threat to humanity. The human commander of the fleet, Admiral Reyes, stood frozen at his console. Sweat dripped from his forehead as he whispered, "This ship, it fights for us, but it is not ours." The thought chilled him more than the enemy fire, because if this warship was not human-made, then what was it, and why had it chosen to appear now? The battle ended faster than anyone expected. The alien fleet, once proud and unstoppable, retreated in disgrace, leaving behind wreckage and silence. The humans stared into the stars, their hearts pounding. They had survived because of the warship, but survival came with questions that no one could answer. The warship returned to its place at the center of the fleet, its lights dimmed, its weapons quiet, like a giant waiting for the next storm. And though humanity cheered that day, deep inside, everyone knew this was only the beginning. The battlefield was silent after the alien retreat. Debris floated across the stars, glowing with fire. The human fleet remained frozen, staring at the warship that had saved them. No one spoke for a long time, because no one knew what to say. Admiral Reyes finally broke the silence. "Open communication to the ship. Send every channel we have." His officers obeyed, but the result was always the same. No reply, no signal, nothing but silence from the mysterious warship. It fought for humanity, but it refused to speak. Scientists from Earth demanded scans, so the fleet sent drones to examine the ship, but the drones could not get close. The moment they approached, their systems failed, their circuits melted, and they floated dead in space. The warship allowed no inspection, as if it wanted its secrets hidden. Still, the rumors began to grow. Some whispered it was a secret project by Earth's government. Others believed it came from an ancient human colony, long forgotten. But the most popular theory spread like wildfire. It is not from this time. People said it was a ship sent from the future, built by descendants of humanity to protect their past. The aliens were not quiet either. In their broken fleets, fear spread faster than fire. Their leaders argued in secret councils. One declared, "This is not human technology. It is something else, something beyond us." Another shouted, "If humanity controls this ship, our empire will fall." For the first time in centuries, the alien empires felt the shadow of fear. Meanwhile, inside the human fleet, strange things happened. Engineers swore they saw the warship move on its own, even when no orders were given. Pilots reported hearing whispers when flying near it, soft voices like echoes of the future. One pilot claimed he heard the words, "Do not fear, we are you, Beth." Or his systems crashed. The ship's presence felt alive, as if it was watching, listening, and judging. Admiral Reyes grew restless. He gathered his top officers and asked them, "If this ship is from the future, why does it help us now? What is its true purpose?" No one answered, but their faces told the truth. They were as afraid of the ship as they were grateful for it. On Earth, news of the warship spread. Billions watched shaky recordings of the battle. They saw a single beam splitting enemy ships in half. They saw shields bending reality itself. Hope filled their hearts, but also doubt. Because if such a ship existed, why had no one known about it until now? The aliens could not rest. They gathered their best scientists, searching for answers, but every scan, every attempt failed. The warship was invisible to their technology. It was as if it existed in two realities at once. In desperation, the alien emperor declared, "This ship is the greatest threat our empire has ever faced. It must be destroyed at all costs." Yet destruction seemed impossible. Every weapon they fired only proved its power. Every battle only increased the legend. The humans began to call it the Guardian, while the aliens called it the Phantom. Both names carried fear. Both names carried mystery. One night, as the human fleet drifted through quiet space, Admiral Reyes stood alone, staring at the warship through the window of his command deck. The ship glowed faintly in the dark, like a star that refused to die. Reyes whispered to himself, "If you are from the future, if you are truly us, what price will we pay for your help?" The warship gave no answer. It remained silent, waiting, watching. And in that silence, the mystery only grew deeper. Because the more humanity looked at the ship, the more they realized it was not just a weapon, it was a message. And the true meaning of that age was still hidden in the shadows of time. The alien armada gathered once more. They had lost many ships, but their pride would not let them retreat forever. Across the galaxy, alien leaders shouted, ordered, and commanded, "Destroy the Phantom, destroy the human weapon, or we will lose everything." So the aliens assembled a fleet larger than anything seen before, hundreds of dreadnoughts, thousands of cruisers, and countless fighter swarms. They came together in a single storm of metal and fire. Their mission was not just to crush the human fleet. Their mission was to erase the mysterious warship from existence. When the fleet arrived, the void shook with their numbers. Even the humans felt small, their courage trembling. But at the center of their formation, the warship stood silent and calm. Its black surface reflected the stars. Its blue lines pulsed like a heartbeat. It looked unafraid, as if no enemy could touch it. The alien admiral gave the command, "Fire all weapons at once, no mercy." The galaxy lit up. Thousands of beams and missiles streaked toward the warship. It was a storm of destruction, powerful enough to erase a planet. The humans screamed in fear. Nothing can survive that. Nothing. But the warship did not flinch. Its shield shimmered again, bending reality like water. Every weapon disappeared. Every missile vanished. The storm faded into silence, and the warship remained untouched. Fear spread like poison through the alien fleet. Whispers filled their channels. "This is impossible. It defies physics. It defies logic." Some captains hesitated. Some even turned their ships away. But the admiral roared, "Hold the line, fight or face execution." The warship moved. Its engines glowed with blue fire as it slid forward. Its cannons charged, glowing brighter than suns, and then a single beam erupted. It tore through 10 alien ships in one strike. They exploded like fireworks, scattering to pieces. The alien soldiers screamed, "It is a demon. It knows our moves. It cannot be stopped." The warship moved again, precise and calm. It fired another beam, then another. Every shot ended in destruction. The alien fleet began to collapse. On the human ships, officers watched in awe. Their fear turned into courage. They saw the aliens breaking. They saw the impossible happening, and they shouted, "Forward, humanity! Forward!" But even in victory, some humans felt unease. How could this ship know exactly where to strike? How could it predict every enemy move before it happened? It was not only powerful, it was intelligent, almost as if it was alive. Among the alien fleets, chaos reigned. Their communication lines filled with cries of terror. One captain shouted, "We must retreat. This is not a war. This is punishment." Another said, "No retreat, no surrender, or our empire dies." But in their hearts, they already knew they were fighting something beyond their understanding. At last, the alien admiral gave the order, "Fall back, regroup, escape while you can." And so, the great fleet scattered like frightened birds. Their ships turned and vanished into hyperspace. The battlefield was left empty, filled only with burning wreckage. The humans cheered in triumph. They had won, they had survived, but the warship stayed silent. Its lights dimmed again, its weapons quiet, like a beast returning to its slumber. Yet the fear it had planted in the enemy was permanent. Across the galaxy, alien soldiers spoke in whispers. They told stories of the human phantom, a ship that could not be destroyed, a weapon that belonged to no era. They called it the shadow of the future, and even the bravest among them trembled at its name. The battlefield was quiet again. Alien wreckage drifted like broken bones across the stars. And at the center of it all, the mysterious warship glowed softly, a silent guardian. For the first time in years, humanity stood tall, not as prey, but as hunters. On every human ship, soldiers cheered, they shouted, clapped, and even cried. The impossible had happened. The alien fleets, once feared as unstoppable, had turned and fled. And all of it was because of the strange warship that fought by their side. Admiral Reyes stood on the bridge of his flagship. He looked at the faces of his officers, their eyes shining with hope. He raised his voice, steady but proud. Remember this moment. Humanity will no longer be weak, no longer be slaves. The crew erupted in cheers. For years they had fought only to survive. Now they believed they could win. News of the battle spread across Earth within hours. Billions gathered around screens. They saw images of the Phantom warship cutting through alien dreadnoughts like paper. They saw the enemy retreat. And for the first time, humanity believed in its future. Children shouted, "The ship will protect us." Old men whispered, "Maybe we will live to see peace." On colonies far away, hope reached even the most broken hearts. Miners, farmers, workers, people who had lost everything, looked at the sky and smiled. They no longer felt helpless. They felt proud to be human, yet pride carried questions. If this ship was truly human-made, who had built it? Why was it hidden until now? And if it came from the future, what did that mean for the present? But in the moment of victory, few cared. All that mattered was that humanity was no longer alone. The alien empires were shaken. Spies reported that their leaders argued day and night. Some demanded total war. Others whispered about peace. But all of them agreed on one truth. The humans were no homie. Longer weak, they had a weapon that could turn the tide of the galaxy. Back in the fleet, morale soared. Pilots flew with confidence, no longer fearing death. Engineers worked harder, knowing their efforts were not wasted. Every human soldier carried the memory of the Phantom warship in their hearts. They said, "If that ship fights for us, how can we lose?" Admiral Reyes, however, remained cautious. He looked at the silent warship and whispered to himself, "You saved us, but I do not know who you are." Still, he could not deny the truth. Because of the ship, humanity now had a chance to shape the galaxy. And with that chance came pride. The warship itself did not move. It floated calmly, its blue veins pulsing gently. It was almost peaceful, like a giant resting after battle. But every human who looked at it felt the same thought. This is not just a weapon, it is a symbol. And so, across the stars, humanity changed. Fear was replaced with courage. Weakness was replaced with strength. Shame was replaced with pride. They were no longer a small voice among empires. They were a force, a people rising from the ashes of defeat. The aliens had once mocked humans, calling them fragile, calling them children. Now those same aliens whispered in fear. They told each other stories of the Phantom, and with every story, the legend of humanity grew stronger. In the silence of space, the warship waited. It had given humanity more than survival. It had given them pride, and pride was the first step toward destiny. The warship floated in silence. It had won battles no human thought possible. It had destroyed fleets that once ruled the stars. And yet, it remained a mystery. Admiral Reyes called a secret council. Scientists, generals, and leaders from Earth joined through holograms. Their faces showed both pride and fear. The admiral spoke first, his voice heavy. "This ship saved us, but we still do not know what it is. We cannot celebrate without answers." The scientists argued among themselves. Some claimed it was a hidden human project, built in secret. They said maybe Earth had developed technology far ahead of the colonies, but others shook their heads. No human hands could build this. Not now, not in this century. One old scientist stood and whispered, "It is not from here, and it is not from now. It is from the future." The room went silent. The words felt heavy, impossible, and yet they explained everything. The strange design, the impossible weapons, the living shield, all of it pointed to a truth beyond imagination. Meanwhile, whispers spread through the fleet. Pilots told stories of strange lights flickering inside the warship. Engineers swore they saw shapes moving behind the hull, as if the ship itself was alive. One captain reported hearing a voice during battle. It said, "Hold fast, humanity must endure." No one could explain it, no one could prove it, but everyone who served near the ship felt it was watching them, guiding them. The soldiers began to treat it like a guardian. They saluted when it passed. They called it protector, savior, future. Even the most hardened veterans prayed in its shadow. For the first time, humanity had faith not in gods, but in a ship. But Admiral Reyes was not so quick to trust. He studied the records, the signals, the silence. He noticed that the warship never asked for orders. It moved on its own, always choosing the perfect moment to strike. It fought like a commander who already knew the enemy's plan. That thought chilled him. If the ship already knew what would happen, was it guiding humanity or controlling them? On Earth, the debate raged louder. Politicians demanded the warship be brought back and studied. They wanted to know if it could be copied, if more could be built, but every attempt to contact or control the ship failed. It ignored commands it did not want to follow. It only acted when the enemy appeared. It was as if the ship had a will of its own. The alien empires, desperate for answers, sent spies, some disguised as humans, others hidden in the wreckage of battles, but none returned. Every spy who tried to approach the warship vanished. No signals, no bodies, only silence. The aliens began to believe the ship was not a weapon, but a curse. And still, the question grew larger. If it was truly from the future, why had it come? Why risk itself to protect humanity? Was it a gift from their descendants, or a warning of what was to come? The council could not decide, the soldiers did not care, but Admiral Reyes could not stop asking. One night, alone on his bridge, Reyes stared at the phantom ship. It floated calmly, blue lights running across its surface like veins of a living creature. He whispered, "If you are from the future, then you know how this story ends. Do we survive? Do we win? Or do we lose everything?" The warship gave no answer. It never did. But in the silence, Reyes felt a truth. The ship was not here to comfort them. It was here because something far greater was coming, and that secret, whatever it was, still waited in the shadows. The alien empires were crumbling. What was once their greatest strength, their fleets, their weapons, their power, was now broken by a single mysterious warship. In council chambers across the galaxy, alien rulers shouted, argued, and fought. Some demanded retreat, others demanded revenge, but all of them felt the same thing: fear. For centuries they had believed humanity was weak. They saw humans as children who played with sticks while aliens carried fire. But now the humans had something that made even the strongest empires tremble. A warship that could not be destroyed, a weapon beyond their understanding, and with each battle, its legend only grew. So the aliens turned to desperation. They brought together their most powerful dreadnoughts, ships so large they blotted out the stars. Each one was armed with weapons that had never failed, cannons that could crack moons, missiles that could burn atmospheres. They gathered them into a single fleet, the largest ever seen, an ocean of war stretching across the void. Their admiral, a creature with iron skin and burning red eyes, spoke with rage. "This human ghost has humiliated us long enough. We will crush it. We will show the galaxy our strength." But even as he spoke, whispers moved through his officers. They did not believe. They had seen the recordings. They had seen entire fleets vanish under the warship's fire, and no amount of speeches could erase the memory of that terror. The fleet advanced. Stars vanished behind the endless wall of alien ships. Human scouts sent messages back to Admiral Reyes. "The largest fleet ever assembled is coming, sir. Bigger than anything we've faced." The humans prepared for the end. Even with the mysterious warship, they wondered if they could survive. The battle began with fire. Alien dreadnoughts unleashed their fury, rivers of plasma, storms of missiles, beams brighter than Sioux. And the void turned into a sea of destruction. Human ships struggled to hold formation. One by one, smaller vessels were torn apart. Fear returned to the human hearts. But then, the warship moved. It glided forward into the center of the chaos. Its shields shimmered, its weapons charged, and once again, the impossible happened. Every alien attack bent away, dissolved, or vanished. The warship was untouchable. It answered with fury. Its cannons fired beams that sliced through dreadnoughts like paper. One alien flagship shattered, then another, then another. Explosions bloomed across the stars, lighting the void with fire. The alien fleet, so vast and powerful, began to crumble. Panic spread through the alien ranks. Soldiers screamed. Captains begged for retreat. The admiral shouted at them to fight, but his words carried no weight, because everywhere they looked they saw death, and everywhere they turned the phantom warship followed. Within minutes, what should have been a battle of hours ended. The alien dreadnoughts, their pride and strength, were nothing but wreckage. The greatest fleet in their history was gone, and the humans still stood. Across the galaxy, the news spread. Alien citizens wept in fear. They whispered to each other, "If the humans truly control this ship, then we are doomed." Some even began to pray to it, not as a machine, but as a god, for in their eyes, no weapon could carry such power without purpose. Back in the human fleet, the soldiers roared with triumph, but Admiral Reyes only stared at the ship in silence. Every victory was a miracle, but every miracle deepened the mystery. If this warship could defeat any enemy, then what was it waiting for? What future had it come from? And why did it hide the truth? The aliens, beaten and broken, retreated to their last strongholds. They were desperate, humiliated, and afraid, but desperation is dangerous, and as they licked their wounds, they began to plan something darker, because if they could not defeat the warship with weapons, then they would try with something far more deadly. The galaxy was changing. For centuries, humans had been a small voice among great empires. They had struggled, suffered, and bled in battles they could not win. But now everything was different. Because of the mysterious warship, humanity was no longer prey. They were becoming predators. The alien empires watched in fear, their fleets destroyed, their soldiers broken, their pride shattered. They had never believed humans could rise so quickly, yet here they were, pushing back with strength they should not have, and at the center of every victory was the silent warship. Battle after battle, the humans advanced. They reclaimed lost colonies, defended their worlds, and struck deep into enemy territory. Every time the aliens gathered their courage, the warship appeared. Every time they thought they could win, its weapons cut them down. The balance of power in the galaxy shifted. The hunters were becoming the hunted. But with victory came questions. The warship never spoke, never explained itself. It followed no orders. Yet it always protected humanity. It was as if it had its own mission, one greater than the humans could see. Admiral Reyes began to wonder, is this ship truly fighting for us, or are we simply part of its plan? The turning point came during a great battle near the colony world of Vega Prime. The aliens launched a desperate attack, throwing everything they had left. Dozens of fleets converged on the human defenders. It was supposed to be their revenge. It was supposed to crush humanity once and for all. At first, the humans struggled. Their smaller ships were outnumbered. Their lines began to break. The colony itself shook as orbital bombardments rained down. Citizens screamed, believing their end had come. Then the warship arrived. It appeared in the middle of the chaos, glowing brighter than ever. Its cannons fired in every direction, beams of light cutting through cruisers and dreadnoughts. Its shields bent reality, turning storms of plasma into harmless sparks. In minutes, the battle shifted. The humans regained control, the aliens lost heart, and once again, the impossible became real. The enemy fled, leaving behind fire and wreckage. But this time, something different happened. As the humans cheered, a signal echoed across every ship. A voice, cold and metallic, filled their comms. It spoke only a few words. Humanity must survive. The timeline must hold. The bridge of Admiral Reyes fell silent. Officers stared at each other, their faces pale. The warship had spoken for the first time. It was not human, not alien, but something beyond, and its words carried a warning. Whispers spread through the fleet. Was the ship truly from the future? Was it sent to ensure humanity lived through this war, or was it guiding them toward a fate they did not yet understand? Hope and fear grew together, for if the warship was from the future, then it already knew what was coming. On Earth, the signal caused chaos. Leaders argued in panic. Some shouted, "It is proof, the ship is on our side, trust it." Others warned, "No, it is manipulating us, using us for its own goal." The people, however, cared little for politics. They saw only that the aliens had been defeated, and their pride in being human grew stronger. But Admiral Reyes could not rest. He replayed the words over and over. The timeline must hold. What did it mean? What danger was coming that required this ship? And why did it sound less like a promise and more like a warning? The Battle of Vega Prime was remembered as the turning point. From that day forward, humanity no longer fought for survival. They fought for dominance. They fought with courage, with pride, and with the phantom ship at their side. The galaxy would never be the same again. The galaxy had changed forever. With the phantom warship beside them, humanity had risen from the edge of extinction to the seat of power. But the mystery of the ship grew heavier with every victory. It fought for them, but never explained why. It saved them, but never asked for thanks. Then came the day of revelation. It began during a battle near the Orion Expanse. The aliens had launched another desperate strike, their fleets burning with hatred and fear. Human ships engaged, holding the line. But once again, the warship entered the fight. Its weapons lit the void, tearing through alien ships like paper. The enemy scattered, their courage gone. And then, in the silence after victory, a signal spread through every human channel. It was not static, not a whisper, but a clear voice, cold and steady. "We are you, from the future. We came to ensure humanity survives." The words froze every soul who heard them. On the bridge of Admiral Reyes, officers stared at each other in disbelief. The Admiral himself felt his chest tighten. The warship had spoken, not just once, but with a message that shook the foundation of their world. The voice continued, "In one possible future, humanity is destroyed, crushed by alien empires, forgotten by history. In another future, humanity rises, but only if this war is won. We were built to protect that path, to guard the survival of our people." Silence filled the command decks of every human ship. For years they had wondered, speculated, feared. Now the answer was laid before them. The warship was not a weapon of gods, not a gift from allies. It was a creation of humanity itself, but not the humanity they knew. It was a gift from their descendants. The soldiers cheered at first. They shouted with pride, "It is us! We built it! We survive!" But for others, the revelation brought unease. If the ship was from the future, then it knew everything. It knew how the war ended. It knew who lived and who died. It knew what choices would shape tomorrow. Admiral Reyes struggled with the truth. He whispered to himself, "If this ship is from the future, then every move we make might already be decided. Are we free, or are we only following a path that has already been written?" On Earth, the revelation caused chaos. Billions celebrated, waving banners of humanity's victory. They saw the warship as proof that humanity endured, that one day their descendants would rise and master the stars. But in the halls of government, the leaders trembled. They asked questions no one could answer. What if the ship lies? What if it manipulates us? What if the future it promises is not the future we want? Among the alien empires, despair spread like fire. Spies confirmed the message. They whispered in terror. The ship is human, but not from their time. They are guided by their own future. Some alien rulers broke down in rage. Others began to plan surrender, because how could they fight an enemy who had already seen tomorrow? The warship itself said no more. After its message, it fell silent again. It returned to its place in the fleet, watching, waiting, but its voice echoed in every human heart. "We are you from the future." That night, Admiral Reyes could not sleep. He stared out at the phantom ship and thought of what the voice had said. He felt pride that humanity endured, but also fear, because if the warship had come back to protect them, then it meant the danger they faced was greater than anyone could imagine. The revelation was both a blessing and a burden. It gave humanity hope, but it also chained them to destiny. And though the soldiers cheered and the people celebrated, Admiral Reyes knew one truth. The war was not over. It was only beginning. The galaxy trembled. The alien empires, once proud and unchallenged, were broken. Their fleets were shattered, their armies scattered, their people filled with fear, and at the heart of every defeat was the mysterious warship, the ship from the future, the phantom that no weapon could touch. But the aliens refused to surrender quietly. They gathered what remained of their strength. Every warlord, every commander, every ship still capable of battle. It was their last stand, a desperate attempt to erase humanity before the tide became permanent. The humans knew it was coming. Scouts reported massive fleets forming near the Drax Nebula. Admiral Reyes watched the reports in silence. He knew this would be the final battle, the moment where humanity would either rise forever or be crushed. The fleets clashed in fire and chaos. Alien warships poured out of the nebula like a storm. Thousands of weapons lit the void, shaking the stars with their fury. Human ships fought with everything they had, but they were still outnumbered, still fragile compared to the alien giants. And then, the warship moved. Its engines burned blue. Its cannons glowed with light brighter than suns. It surged into the battle like a god of war. Every shot it fired tore through enemy lines. Every shield it raised turned alien fire into sparks. The aliens tried everything. They unleashed their doomsday weapons, missiles that could crack planets, cannons that could shatter moons, but nothing worked. The warship cut through their attacks as if they were nothing, and one by one their fleets fell apart. Hope spread through the human fleet. Soldiers cheered, captains rallied, engineers wept with pride. They followed the phantom ship forward. Together, they pushed the aliens back. The impossible was happening. The humans were winning. For hours, the battle raged, but little by little, the alien fleets rumbled. The void became filled with wreckage and flame. The last of their dreadnoughts were split apart. The last of their cruisers fled into the darkness, and at last, the galaxy fell silent. The aliens surrendered, broken and humiliated. Their rulers sent envoys to the humans. No longer did they speak with arrogance. Now they bowed their heads, their voices trembling. "We surrender. We recognize humanity as a galactic power." The cheers across Earth shook the skies. Billions filled the streets, waving banners, singing, crying. For the first time in history, humans were not the weakest. They were feared, respected, unstoppable. They had survived, and more than survival, they had triumphed. But in the middle of the celebrations, the warship remained silent. It did not join the victory. It did not speak again. It only floated, its lights dim and calm, as if its mission was not yet complete. Admiral Reyes looked at it with mixed feelings, pride that humanity had won, fear that the warship's presence still held secrets. He whispered, "You gave us victory, but at what cost? Why are you still here?" As if in answer, the warship powered its engines. A low hum filled the fleet. Its cannons shut down, its shields faded. It turned slowly, facing away from the human fleet. It was preparing to leave. The voice returned one last time. "The war is won. Humanity survives. Our mission is complete." Reyes clenched his fists, desperate for more. "Wait, who are you? What happens next?" he shouted, but the voice did not answer his questions. It only said, "The future must remain unknown." The warship glowed brighter. A rift of light opened around it like a doorway to another time. The humans watched in awe and sorrow, and then in a flash, the phantom ship was gone. Leaving only silence, humanity stood victorious. They had won their freedom, their pride, their future, but the warship had left them with more than victory. It had left them with questions that would echo for generations. The war was over. The alien empires had surrendered. Humanity stood tall, no longer prey, no longer weak. From the ashes of endless battles, they had risen as a power that could not be ignored. Across Earth, celebrations filled every city. Children waved flags, soldiers marched proudly, families embraced after years of fear. The galaxy spoke one name with awe and terror: the humans. But in every celebration, there was one question left unspoken. Where was the warship? The phantom vessel had disappeared in a blaze of light. One moment it stood with them, the next it was gone. Some said it had returned to the future. Others claimed it had hidden itself, watching from the shadows. And some believed it was never truly a ship, but something more. Admiral Reyes stood at the edge of a balcony, looking out at the stars. Victory felt heavy on his shoulders. Yes, they had won, but he could not shake the silence the warship left behind. It had not explained its full mission. It had not given them the whole truth. It had only said one thing: the future must remain unknown. Those words echoed in his mind. What did they mean? If the ship was from the future, did that mean humanity was still in danger? Or had they only won one battle in a much greater war? Reyes could not answer, and that uncertainty was worse than fear. Meanwhile, whispers spread across the galaxy. Alien survivors told stories of the phantom. Some said they saw it even after it vanished, drifting in the distance, glowing faintly. Others claimed to hear its voice in their dreams, a warning, a promise, a curse. No one knew which, but everyone believed one thing: it would return. On Earth, scientists searched desperately. They studied wreckage from the battles, hoping for a clue, but no alien metal, no broken weapon, no piece of debris explained the warship. Its design remained beyond comprehension. Its weapon, remained a mystery. It was as if humanity had been given a glimpse of tomorrow, then had it stolen away. The people, however, did not fear. They carried pride in their hearts. They believed the phantom ship was proof of their destiny, proof that humanity was meant to rise, to endure, to rule the stars. Songs were written, monuments were built, legends were born. But legends do not answer questions. Late at night, Admiral Reyes would stare into the dark sky. He wondered if the warship was still out there somewhere, waiting, watching, judging, or maybe it had truly returned to the future. He asked himself the same question again and again. Did we win because of us, or only because of it? The galaxy entered a fragile peace. The alien empires bowed their heads in shame, but beneath their silence, resentment grew. They whispered of revenge, of rebuilding, of one day striking back, and the humans, though victorious, knew the peace would not last. In the far distance, beyond human eyes, a faint ripple of light moved through space. Some said it was a star dying, others said it was only a comet, but those who believed in the legend whispered the truth. The phantom was still there, and one day it would return. For the warship was never just a machine, it was a message, a promise and a warning. Humanity had risen, but their story was not finished. The future still waited, hidden in the shadows of time, and somewhere, in that unseen future, the warship's engines burned once more. Its voice whispered into the void. Humanity must endure.